You are all weirdos.
Weird science is the revolution. Weird science is the revolution.
Hello, all you weirdos, and welcome back to the Weird Science Comics YouTube channel, where I'm going to give my honest review of Gold Goblin number 4. And I'm always a bit conflicted reading and reviewing this book. I actually like the mystery of whether Norman was committed to being a better guy, and think that a book exploring Norman's struggle with his past could be really good. However, watching Christopher Cantwell ham-fist his way through this story is not what I was hoping for, but when was the last time I actually got what I was hoping for? I'll tell you, it was the one Christmas I got Pitfall for the 2600, and that was a very, very long time ago. So let's see how angry this issue makes me. But before we go into that, please subscribe to the channel, like the video, enable the notifications, and let me know what you thought of Gold Goblin number 4, Christopher Cantwell, and maybe Pitfall. For the 2600, let's go off to the credits and recap as we do with these videos. The Gold Goblin number 4 is written by Christopher Cantwell, of course. Art by Lan Medina and Rafael Pimentel. Inks by Craig Young, Rafael Pimentel, John Livesey, and Roberto Poggi. And colors by Antonio Fabella, and letters by VC's Joe Sabino. Here's the recap. That's a lot of artists right there for a book that looked like crap. While no one had a good night when the dark web had spun over New York City, I mean, really, I didn't have a good bunch of months. Few had a worse time than Norman Osborn. After getting beaten within an inch of his life, Norman learned that his sins weren't just taken away. They were given to someone else. Ashley Kafka was injected with Norman's sins in the Goblin formula to transfer her into Queen Goblin. Not Goblin Queen, Queen Goblin. Blaming Norman for her new monstrous form, Kafka paid him a vengeful visit. To make matters worse, Norman was then attacked by Jack-O-Lantern. The second-rate villain was no match for the Gold Goblin, but just before Norman delivered a death blow to Jack, his guild overtook him once more. Just a good thing, maybe. Seeing reflections of himself and his dead son, Harry, Norman instead talked Jack-O-Lantern down from his violent desires. As the sun rose on a new day, so did Norman's new, forgiving attitude toward his past sins. And here we go. The first thing I think people notice about this book is the awful art. I already said it, but it took all those artists, 4 inkers, 2 artists. What a mess. Oh well, the story itself starts with Norman telling Peter he has free reign at Oscorp, which in my mind is a not-so-subtle way of saying bad crap is about to happen to Norman in the very, very near future, and we just need to know what the status quo will be with Peter after that goes down. We also see Owen Ward, the Jack-O-Lantern, who Norman beat the crap out of, working through his trauma with Dr. Fromm / Dr. Kafka / Queen Goblin. Not Goblin Queen, Queen Goblin. He actually seems to be getting better. I mean, really, aren't we all relieved at that? That's what I've been worrying about. Oh, my God, Owen Ward, I hope he gets better. And says he doesn't even feel like throwing any flaming pumpkins around, which is definitely a good thing if you're trying not to be the Jack-O-Lantern. However, after Norman takes down the Shocker as Gold Goblin, the police ask for his help in an ongoing hostage situation, which seems very odd for the police to do. But when he arrives to help, the bad guy is indeed Owen, decked out in his Jack-O-Lantern gear. What? What happened? Well, things are explained a bit by the end. Everything about this scene feels so forced. And because it makes Norman look like a complete dummy. I don't want to spoil it, but the repercussions of the scene also don't quite match it either, as if Cantwell wants it to be more about Norman's inner struggle, so he negates the real-world consequences of what just happened. Cantwell's lack of subtlety continues as Norman chokes out the of-the-mind ghost of Gwen Stacy, and then has the ghost explain to Norman she isn't really a ghost, but is his conscience talking to him. It's as if Cantwell thinks he is so damn smart that he needs to explain this high-concept story beat to us peasants. Spoiler alert, Chris, your story isn't that clever or smart. The issue ends with a big reveal that everyone already knew, and me understanding once again why Christopher Cantwell can't sell a comic book to save his life. Guess what? I hated this issue. Cantwell's clunky-ass writing makes what could have been an interesting look at Norman Osborn's inner struggles into the equivalent of an overacted D-rate drama. Couple that with awful art, and I think I am done with this series, which is a shame because I want to see what happens, and I really do like Norman as the Gold Goblin, just not in his regular solo Gold Goblin book because of Christopher Cantwell. I don't think I'm the only one. I've mentioned this before, but looking at the reviews on Comic Book Roundup, sometimes the amount of reviews are more telling than the actual scores themselves, because what happens is sites that aren't getting traffic for a review, which does mean that nobody's interested in it, they end up bailing on it. If nobody's coming to read the review, they bail on it, and this issue has one review. One review for a book that should be a big book. It's the same amount of reviews as the newest issue of Scooby-Doo, Where Are You? And seriously, that's better written. I'm giving this book a 4 out of 10. I think that Christopher Cantwell is a complete and utter hack. If you like him, that's all the power to you, but maybe you should read more comics. That's just a suggestion from me, but I think he is awful, awful, awful. But there you go. 4 out of 10. Out of here. I don't know if I'm going to continue, except I kind of like yelling about Christopher Cantwell's lack of writing talent. So maybe I'll be back. But with all of that, thanks everybody. Please subscribe to the channel, like the video, enable the notifications. Let me know what you think of old Cantwell down in the comments below in this issue in particular. And I will talk to you all later.
You are all weirdos.
Weird science is the revolution. Weird science is the revolution.